Political panel, Scott Jennings, author of A Revolution of Common Sense, How Donald Trump Stormed Washington and Fought for Western Civilization, former Biden White House Press Office Chief of Staff, Yemisi Egbewole. Normally it's ladies first, but tonight we start with you, Scott, because of the book. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I think this sort of common sense conversation might play in well here. You come from the comms world of politics. Is this talking point from the White House of this was the admiral's call and we're standing behind the admiral distancing themselves, or giving the chain of command authority and then backing them up?
I watched the whole exchange today at the cabinet meeting, and I thought they were backing up the chain of command. I mean, look, the president wants the boats sunk. He promised the American people a muscular response to the narco-terrorists in our hemisphere. Hegseth gave the orders, and we allow the military operators to operate. And that's what's going on. I think they ought to lean into this, frankly. I don't think it's wrong for Congress to ask questions about it.
Has Donald Trump ever leaned out of something?
Well, no, but that needs to apply to everybody else. And when they go up to Congress, they need to continue to lean into it, because I believe they have a political mandate from the American people to take these narco-terrorists seriously. I don't think most Americans think we've done much of anything to stop all these drugs that flood into the country, and I think that they're going to find a lot of political support for it. So, look, I didn't view them as backing away or throwing anyone under the bus. I viewed them as saying, we've got the best U.S. military operators in the theater. They're making decisions, and they're doing what the president wants, which is to sink these terrorists and stop them from flooding the United States with drugs.
You're very close to George W. Bush and his famous line, what we need to do is stop the terrorists, I think, before he hit a golf ball in Kennebunkport. Yeah, there we go. This is Democrats calling essentially for Hegseth's head. Take a listen.
The only debate is just whether or not he's a murderer or a war criminal.
There is no lawyer that I'm aware of who indicates that that second strike is not a war crime.
And this is the most unqualified Secretary of Defense we've ever had in the history of our country by far.
To ignore that law in the use of military objectives undermines our nation's purpose.
Pete Hegseth has to go. He has to resign. Donald Trump has to fire him.
Does the hyperbole work in Republicans' favor?
No. In Republicans' favor, yes. And it doesn't work on the American people. These same Democrats didn't vote for Hegseth. They've called on him to resign repeatedly. He's doing what the president asked him to do, which is to sink these boats. And he's empowered the military to take action to sink the boats. And so I'm not sure why they would fire him. Again, I think Congress has every right to ask questions, but these Democrats are not doing this for legitimate oversight purposes. This is overtly political. They've hated Hegseth from the beginning. This is a little bit of a dog bites man situation.
You know, Scott, we knew you wouldn't feel comfortable unless you had somebody, not to argue with or yell at, but at least to discuss with, a sparring partner. Yemisi, to you. Are Democrats overplaying their hand when they keep getting in front of, call them scandals, stories, whatever it is, and even before we know the facts, lest something is a headline in the Washington Post, it's already time to resign?
Look, legislatively, they are overplaying their hand, but not with constituents, because we know when they go to these town halls, you've got mom and pop in those town halls, in those auditoriums, screaming at them to do something. But legislatively, as somebody who worked in the Senate during Trump's first administration, and there were many, many calls for impeachment, we know that that's not going to go anywhere. Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, and I cannot believe I'm going to give him his flowers here.
You just called him Speaker?
Minority Speaker.
They're already measuring the grapes, Leland. That's what
Sorry,
happened.
Lost in Tennessee.
I'm already thinking about 2026. That margin, it was wide enough for me there. But he said that he's not going to bring, he's not going to push it because he knows that Johnson's not going to bring articles of impeachment to the floor. I think it's about time that they focus more on 2026 on the midterms. I don't really think that this is something that goes where it plays well when they go back to those districts, but it doesn't actually move anything in Washington.
Yeah, but they do it because it's what the Democratic Party base wants. They want Democrats to throw sand in the gears of government. They want them to shut down the government. They want the military to say, not follow orders, legitimate orders from the commander-in-chief. They want to create chaos and grind government to a halt because that's what their base demands. I agree with you. Yeah. Regular people, regular Americans would like everybody to work together and do legitimate things. But but the radical end of the Democratic base in no way, shape, or form wants them to work with or allow Donald Trump to operate as a legitimate commander-in-chief.
Well, let's look at the special election of Tennessee that you were just discussing. I mean, one of the ways that Dems are usually able to catch up to the heels of anything, even a safe seat like Tennessee, is because they are great at driving out people to the polls. They're really great at energizing that base. And a lot of that energy comes from indignation. And that indignation is easy to come by when you turn it to somebody like the Secretary of War.
We'll put the results up. And I think this sort of moves us actually to a great point. This was Mark Green, chairman of Homeland Security seat. Donald Trump won this seat in Tennessee by 22 points. The margin right now is 8 points. Scott, that's a 16-point spread.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Republicans shouldn't be worried about that.
Oh, look, I think I'm a political operative. I worry about everything. And I'm sure you do, too. Special elections have a different turnout matrix, A. B, it is true Democrats have more motivated and also more reliable voters in their party right now, so that affects turnout in odd year or off year or special elections. There are lessons to learn here, but there's still a few more Election Day votes to count. The margin may grow a little bit. The last poll showed Democrats within 2 points. I think if we learned anything in this special election, it's that the Democratic candidate here, who was objectively cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Wait, I was going to call her a little wackadoodle.
That is the median Democrat candidate right now. She is basically center-cut Democrat is what you got out of Tennessee. You're going to see it all over the country.
As a Southern Democrat, I have to say, somebody traipsing around Nashville saying they don't like country music, that's not where we are. And also, I think Democrats are learning from past mistakes, and we're moving from a platform that she used of defund the police, and we're talking more about reforming.
She didn't come off of that. She ducked and she dodged.
She ducked and she dodged.
She wouldn't repudiate.
Well, it's different, though, and you're not seeing her, though, wrap herself in the flag. And frankly, you're not seeing a lot of the Democrats that are criticizing Trump and the military right now wrapping themselves in the flag either.
No, I'm shocked at Democrats' willingness to defend illegal immigrants, narco-terrorists. I mean, basically anybody that's not an American citizen, you're first in line in the Democratic Party right now. I do not understand it as a strategy.
I compared yesterday. I'll give you the last word. Scott got the first. I compared yesterday the kill everybody, narco-terrorism, laws of war scandal, if you want to call it that, to the Maryland man Abrego Garcia thing. Democrats thought they had it. They thought they had the dog by the tail, and they were going to get Kristi Noem fired and impeached in April, and it blew up in their face. Tell me why this is different.
Well, I think Democrats are going to let go of this Pete Hegseth thing. I think any Democrat political operative is going to tell you we really want to focus on what's happening inside of this country. We have huge foreign policy fatigue. We grew up under 9/11, some of us, and there's a growing generation of folks that do not want you to focus at what's happening abroad, what's happening overseas, and they want you to focus at what's happening at home and hopefully helping them afford to buy a home.
Scott, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. I'm going to give you one piece of advice, though, on a book tour, okay? You got to hold it up higher. We couldn't see the book last time.
And cover up the franchise?
Yeah, well, yeah. But we got to get it above the lower third there, the little Chiron bar. All right, the book is A Revolution of Common Sense. Scott Jennings, already on the New York Times bestseller list. Congratulations.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Yemisi, good to see you as well.
Good to see you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.